Me reviewing Scarf the Wolf came with a bit of unfortunate timing, as I was contacted directly by the creator on Discord a few weeks ago, where I told him that I'd cover the mod after Metal Knuckles. Fast forward to today, and both the developer's account and the mod have been taken down, so there's no link in the description. I did promise to cover it though, so let's continue on with the video regardless. Firstly, Scarf's moveset is a bit strange with how it is laid out. Scarf has 3 abilities all mapped to the jump button, a double jump, gravity jump and a float dash, and I don't think that it'll come to anyone's surprise that it is actually quite a clunky system to use all of the abilities you actually want. Selecting between your double jump, which functions exactly as you'd expect, and your float dash, essentially a quick boost forward, is done by using custom 1. You then might assume that you therefore swap to your gravity jump. A very high but otherwise uninteresting jump is done using one of the other custom buttons, but you'd be wrong, because it can actually only be used after using one of the other abilities, which reduces the amount of freedom you have with the character. In practice it isn't quite as bad as I make it out to be, but it definitely feels like the moveset would be improved if the abilities were moved to different buttons. The abilities themselves also could probably be improved further. Firstly, Float Dash currently doesn't seem to change anything about your ability to travel side to side, which means that you'll often veer off into a wall if you accidentally touch the joystick while travelling through a narrow corridor. Even ignoring that, I feel it would be more rewarding if the Float Dash was more of a commitment, completely removing your ability to travel sideways during it and instead focusing on it being a burst forward in whichever direction you're facing. The abilities all also seem to use sound effects ripped from other parts of the game, which isn't too egregious but still feels like a point I should bring up. For his spin ability, Scarf has a fairly standard sword slash that clears out enemies in an arc in front of him. Scarf doesn't enter a damaging state when jumping, so this can also be used in midair, and charging it will cause the sword to release a free aim projectile upon release. That's all fairly standard, but Scarf also has probably one of the most common abilities to throw into a moveset, a dash mode. I feel it's slightly better utilised than some other mods out there, but I still think it feels so unnecessary. I really don't understand why so many mods use this, but if I had to guess it's because it's an easy way to make the character more viable for speedrunning. In terms of sprites, I do have to give some credit to the fact that they were seemingly created by the same guy who developed the rest of the mod. Considering this appeared to be their first attempt at a mod, I think they did pretty well, and the sprites aren't too awful. They're clearly not as professional as some other mods I've covered, but they aren't distractingly bad. For some reason though, the lower half of Scarf, most noticeably his feet, have really thick black outlines while the rest of his body doesn't. I have no idea why this is, as it feels like the lines could easily be changed to a grey colour to blend more naturally. Scarf also suffers from a little edgy OC syndrome, what with the Angry Expression, red and black colour scheme and what I assume is supposed to be a black trench coat. It's not egregiously bad, but it is noticeable. You know what else is noticeable? The massive text underneath your ring counter telling you what ability you currently have equipped. As Scarf doesn't give any indication as to what ability he's using on his sprites, I do think it is important to give some form of external indicator as to what ability he has equipped. But I think even making the text smaller or removing the ability part of the line would make it fit better. Overall, Scarf is definitely a more amateur mod than some others I've covered. He doesn't have the most original abilities, his sprites could definitely do with some tweaking, and the general presentation of the mod could do some cleaning up. I think a 5 out of 10 is fair here, although I did have more fun with him than some other mods with this score. I don't really know why the mod and the creator's account have both been taken down, because it certainly isn't the worst mod I've played. I hope you enjoyed the video, and ciao.